You do you.
Go for it. You're on. Go for
Thank
it, Lisa.
you. Yay. It's so weird when I look here and then my other monitors here. It's all very weird for me. So this is MathReps. It is all one word. So apparently, in book one, it has been pointed out to me that, and I wrote it, that little portion, I put 2 words. So apparently somewhere along this journey of MathReps, I've smushed it all together. So there's that. So I'm super fun like that. Like you can just kind of keep up with me, and like you just never know when I'm going to change things up. So this is me. This is all of my information in order to get a hold of me. So I will weekends. Oh, thank you. Right, like the pump you up is super awesome. So if you email me on weekends, I'm a little wonky on that because I tend to take a little bit of time for myself. I would love to say like I go out and do fantastic things. No, I just usually veg out and do a whole lot of nothing and hang out with my dogs. Yeah, the calendar, I did not make the calendar. So the calendar was actually made by Megan Johan. And that came out in some sort of thing yesterday. I saw it in like an article online or something like that. It was one of like 20, which was really great. And then Megan pointed out that the author of that didn't give credit to anybody who they did for Jamboard. Sorry, that was on Jamboards. Yeah. So you can follow us on Facebook. We have a page and a group because I realized like, oh, why not just have 2? I don't know what I'm doing in either one. So you can, find information on there. It's not quite as vibrant as Kim's empowered. Yeah, I belong to that one, but it's not as vibrant as that, but you can make it more vibrant. So if you want to go ahead and click on this, it's also bit.ly world answer. It is case sensitive. It's going to take you just, what was something that made you happy in the past week? Being here makes me happy. I love sharing out things and I love learning things. I was just in a session and we were doing art. It was super fun with spreadsheets and things. So, what was something that made you happy this week? I don't even, let's see what made me happy this week. I don't know. Lots of things make me happy. Ooh. Now that's not working. Oh, it stopped working. Oh, I ran out of characters. Huh.
Can you post the link in the chat?
Oh, yes, I absolutely can. That's a fantastic idea. Boom. See, everyone, I'm really trying to get better at some of these things. There we go, at, manipulating everything. Let's see. So I sent my dad an iPad, which we'll see how that goes. He seemed pretty thrilled with it. He got after me for not, look at all these great things, for not, crocheting a blanket. I have a friend who's getting into crocheting now too. You didn't put Google on it. So I set it all up for him, shipped it out to him. He lives in the Detroit area, shipped it out to him. And he's like, but you didn't put Google on it. How am I going to ask Google things? I'm like, you have a phone. So he did do that. I was like, we can take off like the code on stuff like that. He's like, oh no, I already did that. I already programmed in my fingerprint. Like homeboy is like, he's taken off with it. So, rainbows, the rain, right? We really liked the rain. The mudslides up here, not so much. A friend of mine had to move her horse out of the way because where she boards her horse, a mudslide came through the area. Her trainer was injured. Fine, I guess. Succulents. Oh, I love succulents. I can kill those too. I am amazing at killing plants. It's really sad, but I am amazing at killing plants. All right. Reload. Continue. Reading. Oh, lots of reading and Netflix. Oh, dogs. Oh, I love dogs, right? Like animals are awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and go back here. And so MathReps. So MathReps are pretty, I want to say simple, but I realize because it's in my brain, everything makes sense in my brain, which is a very mucky place to be in. I don't envy myself. So what I do is I take standards and I take multiple standards that are all connecting to one another, and I literally I start drawing it on a piece of paper, and I create it, and I usually put it on like a Google slide. You can print it out. I started transferring all of them onto Jamboard, because Jamboard is awesome. And it's really great for kids. And we're getting, I'm now a TOSA in my district. It's the first year that we've had TOSA, so I'm super excited. And I get to push the whole EduProtocol thing down everybody's throat, and that's super fun. And they just kind of do all of these really fun things. So I take the standard, put it, a couple standards, put it on a slide or a frame, and they get immediate feedback. And we'll go through the process that I go through. So the story behind it is John Carippo does, 8 parts of speech, where he does all 8 parts of speech. He says, instead of doing 1 part of speech for 8 weeks, you do all parts of speech for 8 weeks. Now, I don't know, how the link to the slides. Let me give you the link to the slides. We'll see, I'll put it in the chat. There we go. Link to the slides right there for you. So you're so welcome. So he did that, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I need to do this for math. And I was like, this is great. I'm gonna make 1. And then I was like, you just can't make 1 paper for math like that. It's just not how life works in the math world. So I was like, so I was teaching 5th grade. It was about 5 years ago now. I have a very clear image, 5, 6 years ago now, very clear image of my students. And, I was like, okay, we're going to try this. And I tried it with them, and I noticed a really big change with them that year. They were able to do so many more things, because we're in trimesters. So in first trimester, it's all about number sense. It's all about place value, multiplication, division. Second trimester is fractions, because that's super fun in 5th grade. And why not just do all of that? And then you get the end of the year and you do all of these other things with, geometry and all of those other things. And then you have that wonderful state test that we all love and cherish. And I noticed that when we got to the end of the year, like, they had forgotten how to do, the multiplication with multi-digit. And so I really wanted them to have that, that just get a really solid foundation in it. So what I do is I assign it. The first week, we do it all together. So Monday, I assign it, we do it all together. Depending on the paper that I have, I might split that paper in half. There have been years, 5 years ago, I could do the entire paper with my class all in one shot. Okay, it took 45 minutes and it was really painful, but by the end of the week, because it's that repetition, they get used to it. And so it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I could get it down to about 12 minutes that first week. Easy peasy, right? The last couple of years, it seems like my students weren't able to handle that. So I would have to, split the paper in half, do half the paper on Monday, the other half on Tuesday. But we would get through the reps, they would gain automaticity, and they would get a little bit faster as well. So I assign it to them. We literally do it together the first week. By Wednesday of the first week, you have some kids who are like, can I just go ahead? I know what I'm doing. Yeah, the answer is yes. Friday, I give them the same paper, and I use it as an assessment just to watch and track their growth. So it's the same thing every day. So we're going to play now. So we have one on Jamboard, and I was super smart this time, because the first time I did it, I was not super smart. So we're going to go on to Jamboard, and I'm assuming by now most people have used Jamboard, but if we haven't, I'll go through it super quick, just to kind of familiarize yourself with it. So if you go to, and I'll put this link, if you go to this, it's actually going to it's going to force you to make a copy. So I'm going to put that wrong way. There we go. So you can have your own copy of this Jamboard. Of course, this is in the MathReps.com stuff. So you can always have your own copy of it. I have a copy of mine right here. Hopefully it has the number on it already. If you haven't used Jamboard, on the left side here, you have like the pen tool, which I truly love. And I love it for kids too, because you have 6 colors to choose from. That's it. Like 5th grade, like they go all crazy with all their colors and things. Yeah, no, I know this makes it so much easier. You have, let's see, you have an eraser tool, cursor. Sticky notes are really good. So if you're going to use this with younger students, my students in our district have touch screens. You can't make a copy. Uh-oh. Somebody can't make a copy. Was anybody else having an issue with that? That might have been me. And let's see, I'll go back.
No,
And I will copy the link.
there you go.
It's really slow. Okay. So, oops, I did not do that to everybody. My bad. So we'll just do the best that we can. Like, this is what I tell my students. Because of the rate, we had like power was out at some kids' houses. The phone lines weren't working in the district yesterday. It was crazy. But I did know that we're going back to the sticky notes. Sticky notes are a lot easier for 3rd grade and under to do for some reason. Like, they can type on a sticky note, ask them to type on a text box, and they can't figure themselves out. You do have 8 shapes, which is fun. And then you have your, laser pointer. All right, so this is one that I do with my 5th grade class. I give them a number, and this is the only thing I change on the reg. So daily, this gets changed. Every day they have the same paper. It looks the same. We start at the same spot, so on and so forth. The first time I did this presentation, I forgot to like pre-do everything. So like I've got you can't see it, my sticky note here with all of the answers on it because I got all nervous and flustered. So we just break it apart, the area model. So we're multiplying. So it's labeled clearly, multiplying. Awesome, glad that worked for you. We just decompose that to 400 plus 60 plus 8. Then we do it the same over here, 20 plus 6. And then I just walk them through it and have them work it out. What is 20 times 400? And we talk about, hopefully we've built up enough number sense over the years that, they're starting to get that 10 times more concept with them. So, that's going to be 8,000, 1, 2, 3, very messy. 20 times 60 is 1,200. I make my students say the number the proper way. They're not allowed to say 1200. I make them say it the proper way. And then 20 times 8, of course, is 160. And then we go through the bottom as well. And we just do it all together. Oops, another 0 in there. Another trick that I'm going to show you that it was like in the middle of class one day. I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. So I'm going to use some space over here. I have them add it across. Instead of adding all of it together, I have them add this across. Now they can't do it, so they do have to type it, they have to write it manually up and down. So, but I make them do this, and this is why. This is the cool thing. This will be the partial product. Let me go over here. This will be the partial product, 9360, see? Once they see the algorithm done. So I'm trying to connect it for them. 2808. So I'm trying to connect it for them. Cancel. I can shrink that up. So in the end, it'll end up being that these are the same. So then we are going to go through the algorithm. So I would write out the algorithm because my kids love the area model. It's so much easier, like addition. We all love addition. It's just easy to do. So 468, and then what's it, 26. Multiplying it out, of course, that's going to be 48. We start making those connections. Hey, check it out. This partial product is going to be here. So if you can get that, if they can understand that, and then we regroup and all that stuff, I'm not going to go through it all. So then they start to make the connection. Oh, this is why, because this is 6 times 468. That's where this is coming from. And if I was even more brilliant, I would flip this around, but I'm afraid that if I flipped it around and had a 6 up here and the 20 down here, so that it was the partial products in the right order, that would screw up my kids. That's just me. If your kids can handle it, go for it. Color the 0 so that they multiply. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, Darylyn, thank you. Let's see, so here, and then we would multiply it out over here. So it'd be 9360. And then of course we add it, and you would have them add this as well. And the final total is 12 1,000. And I run out of room on the paper and the kids run out of room on the paper and we just do the best that we can. Digitally, I do prefer doing it on a Jamboard because the students can write on it a lot easier than they could if it were a like a slide. And I know Kristen has used a slide before with her students and just has them use the scribble tool. So whatever works best for you. I know Jennifer Dean, she has put a lot of the stuff in Seesaw. So if you're a younger grade, check her out. She's got stuff. Jamboard is better, says Kristen. Yeah. So go ahead and check it out. Partial product, your kids die laughing at the PP. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. TP. Oh my gosh, that is really funny. Each day is a different Jamboard. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I know Jamboards are awesome. I am waiting. I haven't tried it in Pear Deck, but I know that Kristen is a huge fan of doing things in Pear Deck. So you can talk to her about that. She does a lot in Pear Deck. I've done it in Nearpod. My district has Nearpod, so I've done it in Nearpod. I just essentially take this whole thing and dump it into, and I did this for a 4th grade class, the Write It. There's a Write It slide, so you just write on it. So I've done it in that. So it definitely works. They're out there somewhere. They're out there. Everybody's kind of helping each other out. All right, and so Division Toolbox. I learned this from a 6th grade teacher in my district. She's like, I was like, what do I need to do to prepare? She's like, oh, do this Division Toolbox. I was like, okay, fine. So square roots, so she taught me this. It helps the kids with division because division can be super hard. Like I remember sitting thinking, okay, and I still to this day, because it was drilled into me, 45 goes into 865 how many times? Like that is the actual language I use in my own head. Thank you, Sister Charlotte. So this is 1 times, let's see, 26 it's going to be. So 1 times 26 is 26. And I usually do this for only up to the number 5. I'm not going to write it all out. I have my students write it all out, but then there are certain students who then get to a certain level that are like, I don't need to write all of this out. I know what I'm doing. And they literally just write the product down. Fantastic. Don't care. So they go ahead and do that and we write it all down. I did write it down. And then it would be 52, 78. So I don't have to do this on the spot, which always makes me nervous. 104 and then 130. And then I have them do 10 times 26. Again, reinforcing that 10 times more. And so they would just go ahead and write that all out. I'm not going to take the time to do that. And then we set up our problem. So now this is all set up. We can go over here and set up our problem. This is 5th grade. I know 4th grade does it a little differently. And if you're a 4th grade, we do have MathReps for 4th grade that are set up. I know it's the setup is a little different. So we just kind of set it up, 468, 26. Wish I had a touch screen right now, right? And I, on this side or this side. So you figure out how many you take out. So how many, what is closest without going over. And of course the answer I think is, no, I have to find it on here, right? 10. So they can figure out, oh yeah, it's 10. That's going to be the least amount. There we go. So it's going to be, sometimes I even have them write times 10. I make sure that they're lining up their 1s with their 1s, their 10s with their 10s. So then we take out a group of 260. And we're left with 208. And we just continue that whole process going on down. So the highest that we have here is going to be a 5 that works for it. So I make sure that they're lining up their 1s with their 1s, their 10s with their 10s. So it's going to be minus 130. Oops, forgot to put the minus sign. Subtraction, excuse me. And then that's of course 78, and that's going to be multiplied by 3. So on and so forth, right? So then we add it all up. They of course get, oh, thank you. So then we add it all up and we have 18, and then I make them go up here and put 18 in the right spot. We talk about this, 1 is in the tens place, so on and so forth. Yeah, the division method is working for 4th grade. That's awesome. This really brings down, this division toolbox, what I've noticed, really brings down that that anxiety level that kids have, because maybe they don't have their multiplication facts really well, or they're trying to get it done. And like me, when I do this presentation, like I get like flustered, and I'm like, you know, I have to have that done. So this just kind of brings down that anxiety, and it's a nice little tool to, you know, help them out. And then of course, there's the prime factors that we do. It's on a lot of them in 5th grade because they just don't get prime factorization very well. So we just do the 26, and of course you would have them multiply it out, and hopefully they figured out it's 2 and 13. We talk about prime numbers, you know, this gets down to the prime numbers, and so that's what we do. If it's different in your, however you need to do it, then go ahead and do it. On the Jamboards, in this, did I hear correctly? There are samples of variety. Oh yes, MathReps.com. Go to MathReps.com. It's in slides and it's in Jamboards. So they're already done for you. And if you have any ideas and you're like, hey, Lisa, can you make something that looks like this? I had a 4th grade teacher in my district do that. She's like, hey, can you make this for me? My kids need help in this. I made it for her, and it was part of my job, and it was like, ooh, and it benefits MathReps too. So that was super fun. So yeah, this is already done for you. And if you're like, yeah, Lisa, that's really great, but I don't want prime factors, guess what? Take that box out, you know, duplicate it, you know. On some of them, I haven't done it on a lot of the Jamboards. I started putting this as the background frame. If you haven't worked with Jamboard a lot, there is no revision history right now, so be aware of that. They can clear the frame and get rid of everything, but now you can set the background as an image, which I've started doing on some of them, but a lot of them don't have that, so the boxes will still move around. So what I've been doing is creating it on a Jamboard, downloading it as an image, because you can come here and you can download it, you can save it as an image. Yeah, drag and drop in Trigra. Oh, well, you keep me posted on that one, friend. And if you're going to make a copy, so thank you, Andrea. So if you want a copy of any of the Jamboards, they're set by grade levels. Please go to make a copy. It's the 3 dots and it's make a copy. Also, there's going to be a big yellow sticky note with an arrow that says make a copy for yourself. A lot of people don't read. It's not just our kids. I'm just saying. I'm often like writing people back, please make a copy for yourself. I do take the time to do that because I do want this to get out there. So that is just a real quick one. I don't, what time are we out of here? We only have like 15 minutes, right? 35, I think, 2:35. Thanks, Kristen. I'm looking at you. You know, there's Andrea. Thank you. She's sorry. Thank you. There is one multiplication facts. Okay, so this is what you need to do for multiplication facts. Use either quizzes. You could use Kahoot, but I'm not a fan of Kahoot for just my own issues. I don't like the looking up and then looking at my own screen. I like it on one screen. Use quizzes, QUZIZZ.com, and just do your math facts that way. Literally just do them that way. It's gamified. It's still the instant feedback for them. And just, you don't even have to make up any quizzes. I have an entire collection of quizzes in my quizzes collection or my account where I just pick one. I don't do more than maybe 15 math facts at once. You can do this for addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So if you're on Canvas, you can go to Commons and search MathReps. That is awesome. Thank you. So that how I do my math facts is I just give them a quiz. It's the Fast and the Curious EduProtocol. I fought with John on this one. But last year when I had my 5th graders, we came in September. We were around proficiency as a whole class around 54%. And then by December, we were at 97% as a class, as a whole class proficiency. We have a 3-week break for our winter break. after the winter break, I was like preparing myself for like the huge, pitfall of it. And we went down to a 94%. So it's a method that really works for basic math facts. You do it Monday once, then you review it, then you do it again, and you keep check of what your score was as a class. You do that same quiz on Tuesday, that same quiz on Wednesday, that same quiz on Thursday. They will beg for you to do it on Friday. I am not kidding you. They beg for it. They beg for it on Friday, and then the following Monday we start. It's the best thing I've ever done, and I really wanted to prove John wrong too, and I couldn't. Tried really hard. So on MathReps, you can assign them digitally. Now is a really great time because thank you for the trig reps. So if you're in trigs, it's Kristen put it in there. And you can assign them digitally. So through any, like we've been talking about a whole ton of platforms that you can use. You can use paper pencil. I was a fan of that in the classroom. I'm honestly a fan of paper pencil in the classroom with math. I want them writing it out. Yes, they can do it on whiteboards. Yes, they have other ways that they can do it, but I'm really a fan of that. If you're not and you're like, nope, I'm going to do it digitally, you do you. Yeah, so you can use the paper marker, in a plastic sleeve. That is the best. I do like that when you have to get the right markers, so they're not the fat ones. And depending on, how old your kids are, like they just write giant on them. This is the option a lot of the teachers in my class or in my district are doing for our distance. We haven't been back. We're in deep purple. We're in Monterey County, we're deep purple. We're talking about going back, but like there's no timeline set, whatever. So the second grade teachers have really been using this one a lot, the paper marker sleeve method. Some of the fourth grade classes have been using the digital one on Jamboard. And then there's a recording sheet. So in mathreps.com, in that giant folder, if you'll see all of the grade levels. At the very bottom of it, there are random ones. They look random, but they just don't fit into a grade level. They're multi-grade level ones. There is a recording sheet that Jeremiah Roosh created when he was in the classroom doing this with at-risk students who were at risk of failing in the middle school. Yeah, speed for kids. Yeah, they need to get to know it. I absolutely agree. So this is what my week generally looks like. So I kind of have it split between like the first time you do it and when it's the routine and they're kind of used to the whole routine thing. So on Mondays, I introduce it, or the first day of the week, like if it's a Tuesday, whatever. I introduce it, we work through it together. It can take up to 45 minutes. I don't recommend going above 45 minutes. Like they're already getting like really antsy. Do whatever your kids can do. I've heard people say like the first one that I ever created had like 10, 12 different standards on it, that it was too much for their kids. There were too many things going on. Please feel free just to take some of those things off and individualize it for your class. If you have a student in your class, I know Jeremiah has done this, you have a student in your class who maybe there's too much. And I did have a student one year who just didn't matter like how many times we went over, homeboy was not getting it. And he tried so hard. So you just take some of those boxes off and like, okay, what are the important ones that I want him to know? And I worked with his teacher with the IEP, like what's going to work. You just got to do what is best for your kids. The day 2, you work through it, and it will take less time. I promise you, it takes less time. Day 3, they're going even faster, and you do have some kids that start working ahead. Day 4, it is literally down to about 12 to 15 minutes as a class, as you're working through it, because they've got that routine. If you stick with it for that first week, they'll get it. They understand it. The first week, depending on your class, I usually do give a baseline assessment just to help track, like, this is where you are. The kids freak out on you. They're like, but I don't know. You're like, I know. And that's why we're doing it. Like, I want you to look at your first day, and I said, we're going to look back in a few weeks, and we're going to see what you've done. I've also had them make goal setting. What do you want to work on next week? And it's never going to be, I want to get them all right. It's okay, well, you got this one done. You know how to multiply with the area model, maybe you work on multiplying with the algorithm and you can't just copy the number either. Like they do that because they're wily little children. You know, and so once you're in the routine, I do set a timer mainly for myself because I yap too much, and I get off topic and off task. So I do set a timer. It's not, and I make it very clear, it's not that I want them to finish and it's a timed thing. It's, and this is a constant theme in my classroom, I set a timer because I need to stay on track. So it helps me to stay on track and just to stay focused. And then there is something called the Parkinson's effect. If you give them too much time, they will, you know, they'll wait till the last 3 minutes anyhow. So when I do it in the routine, if it's a short chunk, I'll wait till the end to check everything. Or if it's a little bit of a longer page, I'll say you do this part, and then we check that part. Then we do this part, and then we check that part. So it just depends on what works for you. One final thing too is if a student gets the assessment 100% 2 weeks in a row, the following week, they don't need to do that math rep again. I send them on to do other things like, you know, creating videos or doing something that's creative that can, we have a cat that joined in. I love when animals join. So when we, you know, I just have them create something so that it kind of extends it, so that they're helping out their fellow students, and they don't have to sit and do the same thing because they've already proven that they know this information. I do make them do the assessments on Fridays just to make sure that we're keeping up those skills, and that's it. So what questions do you have? You can either type it, you can put it, you can unmute yourself. Yeah, I love that that the cat is a part of the Zoom. That is fantastic. I love that. You know, I have some teachers who hate that in their classes, like, no pets. I'm like, okay, well, usually I have my Chewini sitting next to me or behind me. She pushes me out of the way, and like, so I, you know, go forward. Showed her off to a couple classes, and then my other guy, I don't know where he's at. He's usually sleeping somewhere. So that's enough. Are there any questions that you have about any of this?
Good question.
Anybody?
Yeah.
I had downloaded a MathReps thing, and it has a whole bunch of wonderful activities like pages and pages. Do you then just take one of those pages, copy it, and then make multiple pages? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thanks. That's what I thought, but I wanted to double check. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Go ahead, Shannon.
I tried to do the same thing, but when I made a copy, it was still in view only, so I couldn't edit. Am I doing something wrong? I'm new to this.
What were you trying to copy? Was it a
copied
slide?
something off the EduProtocols link that you put in. Yeah, it was. I think it was Jamboards.
Jamboard.
Like a number of the day, and there was a calendar. It was for kindergarten.
Yes.
But the copy
let's see.
still shows the Post-it note and make a copy, and I can't do anything about that.
Oh, on Jamboard, you'll know if you have copying. You'll have to delete that. So I know. Okay. So on the Jamboard that you made a copy of, it should say copy of, right? If you have these tools on the left side, it's yours. It's your copy. And then if you click on it, so like I have my big sticky note over there, you can click on it. You can either click on it's always the 3 dots. I swear I'm getting stickers made that says always the 3 dots. You can delete that. You can delete that, and then you can move things around as necessary if you want to. I think if that doesn't answer it for you, contact me and we'll work it out. We'll do a Zoom or a Meet or something, and we'll try and figure that out for you.
Thank you.
Do you do that? Yeah. Do you do this as your core curriculum? No, this is not a core curriculum. This is a supplemental. My core curriculum sucks. So I have to have something that does support it. So this is solely support reinforcement only. Does anyone know how to get special characters in the text on Jamboard? Oh, that's Kristen. So that's upper math stuff. Equatio. Oh, Equatio is now, get Equatio.
Oh, yeah.
Get the Equatio extension, and it now works, I think, in Jamboard. I just read that. Right. I was going to play around with it, but then I got sidetracked with something else because my brain. If you make them, I need to split the cost of a bulk order. Always the 3 dots. Yes,
stickers,
yes.
yeah.
The stickers, absolutely. It's always, I tell everybody in my district, it's always the 3 dots. All right, that is all I have for you. So yeah.
Quick question. Okay, so you do the same one for several weeks. Do you ever bring them back in? How often?
When I'm feeling mean, like, and I will bring them back. So like, we'll do like the multiplication one. So there's another one that I do at the beginning of the year. And then we'll be plugging along with the multiplication division one. And then bam, one for an entire week. I'm like, boom, here's the one from the beginning of the year. They're like, what? And they've forgotten a lot. Okay, great. We're going to do it the whole week. By Tuesday or Wednesday, they're back on track again. So yes, I do bring them back. It is adaptable. Thank you for that. So here are some other options that are also in the MathReps folder. This is called Bright Bites, and think number talk with more. You have to put number talk to the next level. So you do a number talk, you write your equations, and then you write a word problem. The 3 dots next to the share, to the duplicate, make a copy of Jamboard. Yes. So here's the share and then the 3 dots. Always click on the 3 dots. Somebody have a question?
Okay, session resources are now linked in the at a glance, so you can get those there. Someone was asking.
Is there a person or a group, a collection of facts you could use on quizzes? Because sometimes you get really bad.
Yeah, I do have some. So if you want to email me or I can share that with you. So you can email me at Nowakowski. I can put it in here again. Because Nowakowski, Nowakowski. I cannot type my name. I cannot write my name and talk at the same time. Like, that is just not a thing that happens in my world. Math facts on Canvas. Awesome. So comic strip math is one of my favorite ones. My students created it a couple of years ago. This was all student driven, and they have a problem that they have to break down. So it makes them show you the different steps.
That's correct. Yeah.
Hey, Kate.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi.
So
How you been?
let me make